Hello and welcome to Sestra-Tainment. I'm Lenora and that's me. And we're coming to you today in regards to everything entertainment. And so on that note, sis, you're up first. What you got?
Okay, so I want to talk about this book that I read. Just want to show this to you so I can get it without the glare.
Okay. Prince, the Beautiful Ones.
I love this book. Okay. So basically what it is a memoir of the greatest musical artist of all times. Well, oh no, he's neck and neck with a couple of people, but to me.
Okay.
So he had been working on this book with Dan Pippenbring. And I almost messed that up. Pippenbring? I think it's Pippenbring. And they've been working on the memoir together. And Dan actually says in this that it took them some time to get the book going and like get the introduction and everything about when he says that Dan says that the last time that he talked to Prince, he didn't know it was going to be the last time he talked to Prince. He said it was actually 4 days before he died. So he talked to him on April 17th, 2016. So the book isn't necessarily in chronological order, but the book is basically all the things that Prince wanted to put out as his own book. So Dan did the best that he could from the bit of time that he had to put it all together to hopefully make Prince proud. So like some of the stuff in the book, is like he talks about his parents, he talks about his siblings, his friends, he talks about his band and all the stardom. Now, it shows a lot of stuff, like it shows a lot of pictures. So you get to see like what Prince looked like as a child, like a little baby. Like you see him like when he's like maybe 3 years old, 2 years old, something like that. It's a whole bunch of pictures that people probably had never seen. The book does bounce it back and forth a lot because I guess the guy Dan put it together in the way that he was talking to Prince. So he was like, Prince would just call me and just start talking about, hey, I remember when blah, 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 blah. So then he would put it in an order like that. Like, this is what Prince had told me. This is where this chapter is going to be. Another thing is it has all of his handwritten lyrics. And it was amazing. It has all my favorite songs in it. So, it's the best. It does go to see some love notes from his parents, which I thought was kind of cute, but then it was kind of confusing because his parents were together and then they separated and he had stepdad. So I don't know when he says his dad, if he's talking about stepdad, if he's talking about his dad. So,
but it's parents between the two of them.
Yeah, exactly.
The love notes, I'm sorry, between the two.
Yeah, the love notes are between, yeah. So, but so far, like, reading is an awesome read. Reading it from the library, about to buy the book because it's amazing. The pictures and stuff, let me show you a couple of things. Okay. So there's a lot of pictures.
Well, keep in mind, try to explain it since people listening aren't going to be able to see.
So basically, these
get our podcast on YouTube. FYI, Sestra-Tainment.
Exactly. A lot of these are just stories. Like these are little stories and stuff that he wrote. Basically, but I mean, it's not really stories, but it's like a make-believe Prince life. So it's kind of like there was a young man who did this and went here and did all this stuff. So it's very cool when it talks about that.
Is that stories that he wrote when he was younger about his future self?
Yeah, no, it was like stories of him on the road. So it would just be like, instead of him writing in a journal what he actually did, it would be a story, kind of like. Okay. Which is really cool. A lot of this, it talks about his childhood. So you can see all of that talking about his childhood, girlfriends that he had, the bands that he played with, the closeness that he had with his mother and his father, and the turmoil he had between both of his parents. So look at right here. You see little baby Prince.
Oh, I think I've seen that picture before of
Yeah,
him in
look,
front of
look
like
at
an
that.
old school car.
Yeah, so his nickname was Skipper.
Yep, nickname was Skipper. I do
So
remember.
yeah, it got another picture of him and his sister. Super
Aww.
young. That's what I say.
He
It's
was
like stuff that you would
chunky.
never see. This is August of 1961. Like,
He was chunky.
yeah, he was a little round faced brother. He got pictures of his mother in here, like her ID, everything. Some pictures of his father, him and his father, right here, as you can see.
I don't think I've ever seen his mother and father before.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. And then he has this one thing, which I don't know why this is something that he has in here. It is a picture of him younger, but if you look at the top, it has, I guess it's just so you could see his name and where he lived at and things like that. But I don't know if you see that.
Oh, the envelope.
Yeah, the envelope.
Skipper Nelson Baker even got a different.
Yeah, so so that's what I'm saying. It's the that is the father to the stepfather. So he shows his father being in a band. So Prince Rogers Trio, and I believe that this was his stepfather that was in the band, and his father was actually a preacher. I can't. It gets a little confusing to me.
Yeah, because they were Jehovah's Witness, right?
Yes. So, and then he talks about I wanted to be like my father and be in a band, but then he's also like, and then my father was a preacher, and so it's like, hold on, man, like you gotta say dad A, dad B, first dad, second dad, something like
Rich
that.
dad, poor dad.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It even has like his report card in here. Why he has his report card in here, I don't know. It's just like basically, I guess maybe things that are in his museum that is his home out in Minnesota.
Well,
Maybe
and it's all things Prince. It sounds like it's all
everything Prince. Pictures of him, and like his photo album. So like this is part of his photo album. I don't know if you can see. I can't see that. But basically it's just him showing he was like, my first car, cute, huh? Like this is just cute. He has pictures of his manager Owen, and then it says, could this be why I'm broke? And it's him and Owen. Maybe that's why he's broke, because the dude Owen is his manager. Yeah, that could be the thing. It shows pictures of them on the road, pictures of him in the studio, pictures of his friends, pictures of when he was in California, all types of stuff that I think is amazing to have in this book. And if you see all this black pages right here, that's all of the pictures and Prince explaining the pictures. And then the white parts up here are actually, some of it is the things that were handwritten, that was just rewritten into like actual pages. So where the dude Dan actually didn't do much of anything. He was just like, look, I just did, like, I took a scrapbook and put it and made it a book.
So it's not really much of a story as much as it is a story through photos and pictures.
Yes. So it's like, this is his Michael Jackson movie in a book. Yeah, and I think that it's so awesome. It's a lot of pictures that I'd never seen of Prince before. I'd never seen him in some of these outfits, like as you can see here. Yeah, he's just laying on the bed, legs sprawled wide open. It's like, very, very Vogue-esque, I would say.
Prince.
Yeah.
Provocative.
Yeah, song. So he has "Do Me Baby," and this is just like written out on, like, I don't even know what this is. There's no lines. It just looks like a piece of paper that might have been probably this big. And he wrote it. A bunch of different songs, which I thought is amazing. Like, just to be able to see somebody's brain work and have a snapshot of their brain working.
Yeah, when you know they're a musical genius.
Exactly. You got stuff about him and Morris Day. So you got him in there. That's actually him. We got a little bit of let him know what it is. He's supposed to look like an old man, I guess.
Maybe
for a cover or something. It talks about him and Morris Day. They had like a little bit of a feud for a little while.
Yes.
So it talks about that. We got the words to Little Red Corvette written out. And the thing that I love about this is like you can see where it's marked out. Like you see it's marked out, and then he writes something else. Up here, he literally drew a little red Corvette. That's amazing.
Yeah, definitely. So he's really like showing you that, hey, I'm having to visualize the car to put together the words. And then, oh, here's me taking out some words, putting in other words. And then I guess that is the final draft. Like when you hear the song, or the words that he marked through are not in the song.
Well, no, because some of them, like some of the songs, like, I guess like it is the song, but then some words have been changed or something like that. Like Let's Go Crazy. I think that some words were changed in that, unless I just hearing different words.
Maybe it's your different words than what are the actual words. Yeah.
Yeah, Raspberry Beret. We got the lyrics to that. Like some songs that it looks like he started to write a song, but then it might be a song that I don't know. I don't know. Believe me, baby, I know the times are changing. It's time we all. Oh wait, no, this is right.
Now that we know.
Yeah. I didn't know that. And there was another one.
Times are changing. Yeah, sorry.
You trust me. I don't even know what this is. Oh, purple.
You too. Sorry, I'm feeling it.
But it's awesome. We got pictures of him in a photo shoot that he had. Another thing that we have is his passport. Like, look at that. He has Prince's passport. That's kind of cool. Beautiful handwriting.
Yeah,
his handwriting is amazing.
Yeah, he looks like, I don't know. He looks like an artist. Like he could be a mime. Like he could be French. Like he could be. He just looks so like universal in that.
He looks like some kind of artist, and you don't know what the art is.
Right? Is it physical art? Is it art? Is it music art? Is it dancing art? Is it what art is? Yeah,
exactly. Another thing is that what I thought was very cool was that he has sketches of his music videos. Frame by frame from a poster board. So you can see the different sketches of what's happening in the music video before he actually does the music video. So I thought that was cool. I was like,
that's what they call the storyboard. The storyboard.
Yes. I didn't know nothing about storyboard because why would they have a picture of the guitar? Just and zoom into the guitar. Is that what that is?
You need to make sure the guitar is focal. Maybe that is part of a guitar solo or something.
It says cut to close up of Prince's guitar. That's what it says.
There you
go. So it says everything. It's like dancer leaves frame. Cut to see you of dancer behind the glass for chorus line. So it's like the stuff like that is pretty. It is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It's like behind the scenes of somebody who was a great artist in everything that they went through. But I just thought that this was like a really good book. Just because it was his book. It's his book. It's not like somebody else wrote the book. This is actually his book. So I think that this is great. It's not where the most stuff that you get from Dan is probably the introduction. The introduction is the only thing that you get from the dude Dan. And then after that goes right into everything that Prince was saying, everything Prince was wanted to have in the book, and then pictures, stories, lyrics. And it's just, I don't know, it's so awesome. I think it's the best thing because you can't actually see his handwriting. You can actually see.
Yeah, it's like a piece of him is still here. Because you see all these things.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like it's pictures that it's just a picture that he has, and then he just the stuff that's written on the back of the picture.
Right, exactly.
So it's just like he's still a regular guy. He used to ride his bike all around Minnesota,
Yeah, bicycling around with a big fro. Like, who would have thought?
But you know what? I recently watched a NPR interview with Dave Chappelle, and I feel like what he said kind of made me feel like what it was with Prince's life. So Dave Chappelle is buying up a lot of property that's in this little town where he's from in Ohio, and he said that if anybody was to come and be like, "Hey man, where's Dave Chappelle's house at?" They would be like, "We're not telling you that." Like, no, like he's like, they protect him at all costs. So I'm thinking that that's how it was with Prince being in this small town in Minnesota. I feel like that's what it was with him. He was able to ride a bicycle down the street because everybody was like, "Oh yeah, we just saw Prince like 20 minutes ago." Like,
right. And they're like, protecting him with all
I'm not telling you where Prince's house is. Like, Google it if you want to know that. Like, no, and you're not going to get into the gate, but we know how we can get into the gate because we know this dude. Like, we just was over here listening to his new album, like that kind of thing.
Right.
So yeah, and that's
awesome. Yeah, I did watch part of that too. Yeah, that's a whole other topic you could talk about.
I know, right? Yeah.
But no, that was a really good. I didn't watch all of the podcasts, but what I did watch of that and watched of him on CBS This Morning.
Okay.
You know, that morning, Sunday morning or whatever, like those types of things of him talking. Yeah, that could be a whole other topic for us.
Well, I'll talk about that next.
Okay, sounds good.
Sounds good. All right, so that's what I had. Prince, The Beautiful Ones, book is out. Go get it. It's been out for a while. I don't even know actually when it came out. That doesn't have a date on here, but you can find it anywhere. I found it on Amazon for I think it was no more than $20.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent.
So what do you have?
So I actually went to go see the Michael Jackson movie. O-M to the G.
See, you got your favorite and I got my favorite.
No. I'm going to tell you this. I love Prince too. Like, I love both of them. I know so many Prince songs. I know songs from every album of Prince, but I also know songs from Michael Jackson, right? So, I mean, and I had that crush on Michael Jackson when Thriller came out, like the whole 9 yards.
Oh, that's what you had all the Michael Jackson stuff growing up.
I had all the Michael Jackson stuff.
Yeah, I didn't see no Prince stuff.
But they didn't have Prince dolls. Willie had dolls.
I was just saying, I didn't even see you didn't have a Prince poster. You had I'll Be Sure and New Edition, Michael Jackson with the calendar and stuff. So,
Okay. The point with Prince, when you're 12, 13, 14, he was too sexual for you to have a picture of Prince up in your room back then.
That's true.
Back then. I mean, look at him on that bed, right? Like whatever you would have seen of Prince would have been him, with his finger in his mouth or him grabbing, something crazy or whatever. I don't know. Even though Michael Jackson did grab his crotch quite a bit, but
every time
I will say most of his pictures weren't of that. So
that's true.
So anywho, I digress. The movie, if you like any Michael Jackson songs, I'll just say that you do not have to be a Michael Jackson Uber fan to watch this and super enjoy it. Case in point, Terry and I went with some girlfriends, shout out Terry, and he is okay. He said basically the only reason he went to the movie was because of the fact that the girls were all going. And he was like, "Oh, I'll go hang out with the girls." He would just be that guy hanging out with all the girls, So he was like, "Oh yeah, I'll go, sure. Why not? So he went, wasn't anticipating anything. And at one point he's singing Michael Jackson music during there. And I had to tell him to shh. Because I was like, people are hearing you. Okay. I was like, people are hearing you. Number two, he ended up leaning over before the end of the movie and said, "This is a really good movie." And I was like, yeah, it is. And I was like, I'm really impressed. Number three, after it was over, he walked up to me and my girlfriends and said, "Now, I'm not one to pay for movies and watch them twice in the theater, but this movie, I would come back and watch it again." So if that's any testament to what this movie was about, I just think it was spectacular, being a Michael Jackson fan. Now, what I will say is there's controversy of people who were like, it doesn't go into all the drama. It doesn't go into all of the things with allegations, yada, yada. This is what I'd say. The movie is the making of Michael Jackson. It goes from his childhood of being about 5 or 6 years old up to him, well, maybe 8, 9, depending on where you look at it from his perspective. He did lie about his age a little bit and was told to do that. And then it goes up until 1988. So for that perspective, it's not his entire life. His brother Jackie has been on the record stating that he will want to make sure that there's a part 2 so that it can get into more things. So for all these people who are critics and saying that they're giving it bad stars and bad reviews because it didn't cover his whole life, nobody ever said that it was supposed to cover his whole life. So I'm going to leave that as it is. The way in which Graham, what is his name? Graham, oh gosh, he's the one that found Jafar. Graham King. Graham King is the one who was like, hey, Jafar, you look a lot like Michael. Would you want to do this? Jafar, I think, practiced for 2 years to prepare himself to play his uncle. Jafar Jackson, for those of you who don't know, is Jermaine Jackson's son. There's a little backstory to that. So he's Jermaine Jackson's son with Randy Jackson's ex-wife. So he married his brother's ex-wife. And in the process of marrying his brother's ex-wife, they had Jafar. They had a few kids, but Jafar is the one who plays Michael. He is spectacular.
Yeah, he is.
Spectacular in regards to, I think already he had the mannerisms, right? So Antoine Fuqua, I think that's how you say it. He is the director. He said when he first met Jafar, he was like, oh, okay. He's talking to me and we're, engaging. And I'm like, he's already in character being Michael. Like, wow. Like he's already got the high pitched voice. He's already got the mannerisms. Like he is really trying to sell himself to me and he already has the job. And then he came to find out, no, that was just Jafar. Like he is not trying to be Michael. That is his mannerisms. That is his voice. He's just, the same kind of energy in person. And you can't say all Jacksons are like that. All of them are kind of timid speaking for the most part. Probably Tito and Jackie maybe are the ones who aren't as much. Well, maybe Marlon too. But anyway, a lot of them are more timid speaking. But Jafar is just, he embodied Michael. First and foremost. Also, let me go through the cast because I want to make sure that I hit on everything. We had so many people in here. So you have Jafar Jackson playing Michael as the older Michael, like the teenage Michael. Then you have Giuliano Valdi playing young Michael. He did a phenomenal job as well by doing all of the little footwork and stuff that Michael would do and the swinging of the, the microphone, cables and stuff, like all the things that Michael used to do with the bell bottoms on, like that was, Giuliano's role. Then you had Coleman Domingo, who played Joseph Jackson. He played that role so well for so many people. Like I still would see a little Coleman in there just because I've been seeing Coleman Domingo for probably 8, 9, 10 years and different things. For people who don't know him, haven't seen him before, they really felt like he looked like, he did look like Joe Jackson, but the young Michael was like, oh, you did such a good job. I didn't recognize you. Like when he didn't have the makeup and stuff on, he was in the elevator with Coleman and Coleman was like, hey, how you doing? And he said he looked at him and was like, hey, and like stranger danger. And he was like ready to walk away. And then Coleman was like, I've been on set with him for the last week. And he's acting like he doesn't know me. What is going on? So then finally somebody had to explain to him like, no, that's Joe Jackson without all the makeup on. And he was like, oh my God, you were like a whole different person. So young Michael was very confused. Young Michael also during this taping, like at lunchtime when people would be eating lunch, sometimes he would just do a whole Michael Jackson song. He would do the dance. He would do the new dances, the old dances. He would just perform and entertain them. So he is a young entertainer just himself. Okay. Then you have the people who played Jermaine, or the person who played Jermaine was Jaden Harville. You had a young Marlon, Jalen Hunter, young Tito, Judah Edwards. You had a young Jackie with Nathaniel McIntyre. You had Nia Long, who played Catherine Jackson, and she embodied just the quietness and reservedness, but yet strength of Catherine Jackson. But she kind of, You wonder how much Catherine really pushed back on Joe, because Joe was such a force, like like the kids couldn't even call him dad. They had to call him Joseph.
Yeah.
Period. Not even Joe, Joseph. And Janet Jackson even went into that, like, oh no, like she's on camera, like in an interview, like, oh no, he told you to call him Joseph. I tried to call him dad once. He said, no, I am Joseph to you. You call me Joseph. And she was like, and that's what you did. So that was that, Young LaToya Jackson was played by Amaya Mendoza. You had a Gladys Knight character, Liv Simone. You had Suzanne DePasse, who was Laura Harrier. Interesting story there. So she is the one who kind of discovered the Jackson Five, but the narrative Suzanne DePasse. She happened to just see them at some kind of like local show, and her and Joe had a conversation, and she said, oh, well, I work for Motown. And he was like, ding, ding, ding. So, but the story was, back then, what they put on all the shows and like, who discovered them was supposed to be Diana Ross. So they made it seem like Diana Ross discovered them, but the actuality is that it was Suzanne DePasse.
I have a question.
They did that on purpose.
Now I have a question. In the movie, it shows that it's somebody, the woman. Does the woman look like Diana Ross?
No. It has always been that this woman was the one who found them, but you fabricated stories in order to make it more like Diana was the head of the Supremes. Who better to launch a brand new group than to say that Diana Ross found them? So that's kind of what Berry Gordy put out there, so that way that would be the story. And you have Diana Ross being asked about it over and over and over again, like, oh, so you found the Jacksons. And she's like, well, I gave them their first break in regards to having them on my variety show. I introduced them on at Sullivan. So she never really said, I saw them at X, Y, Z. So she kind of morphed the story. Now, another story about that. Yeah. Diana Ross did not want to be in this movie
at all.
They had a character who was already cast to be Diana Ross. You have to think of how much influence Diana Ross had on this group. They lived with her at one point. Mm-hmm. She and Michael were just like inseparable. There's talks of it being a potential relationship there. He supposedly proposed and she had a ring from him. Like, there's so many layers to the relationship between Diana Ross and Michael Jackson. And Diana Ross was like, 14 years his senior or something like that. So there's a story there, but she insisted that she not be cast in this. So there is no Diana Ross story, which did feel like a glaring thing. Like, you're just like, really, for real? Like, you don't have anything with him and Diana at all? Nothing with him and Elizabeth Taylor yet? Like, nothing.
Yeah. So I did see that. I did hear, I was listening to the Breakfast Club, and they've been talking about the Michael Jackson movie since before it came out.
Yeah.
But they were saying that Anthony Fuqua was saying that he was kind of irritated with them because it was certain things that he had already had written out, like on the storyboard or whatever, of everything that was supposed to be happening. And then because of certain people, like was it LaToya and Janet not wanting to be in the movie?
No, LaToya was in the movie.
Oh, no, LaToya.
Janet and Rebbie.
Yeah. Janet and Rebbie not wanting to be in the movie. He had to start over with that. Diana Ross not wanting to be in the movie. He had to start over with that. Couldn't talk about anything that was happening. Like, it was certain things that he could not talk about that was on his storyboard. And they were just like, no, take that off.
Yeah.
So I knew that he was very frustrated about that, and he did have it to where he banned some people from the set from coming because I guess every time they came, they kept giving him bad news. And he was like, well, if you're not on my set, then I can't know, and I can just go ahead and make what I want to make. Yeah, exactly. But I think that the editor's cut is going to be a lot more stuff in the editor's cut that we are probably, we might see or we might never see.
If you could see it, right. And here's the thing. Anytime that you do a documentary style movie on someone's life and their family is involved or that individual person is involved, you will never, ever, ever have the full story. because of the fact that they're going to want to hold back on certain things, protect somebody's legacy. All of those things, are always going to happen. So anytime somebody says, oh, I'm going to do an autobiography, like how Madonna did her, Truth or Dare, movie about herself, for herself, with herself, directed by herself, probably. It's going to be what it's going to be, Yeah. So as soon as I knew the Jacksons were involved, number one, I said, in a way that's good, because we know whatever stories come out of this will be the true stories. Like we all probably watched that American Dream, Jackson's, thing. And I don't know if they were as involved in that or not. They sound like they thought that it was pretty spot on, but I don't know how involved they were with this. I knew, well, we'll get cookie cutter versions of things, but even if it's cookie cutter, for what I saw, phenomenal. It was so good.
So I did hear that Janet and Riri were saying that they didn't want to be a part of it because they said that Michael would not have wanted this.
Right.
So they were like, because Michael would not have wanted this, then let's not do it. But they were saying that Jermaine was the main one. Was like, no, my son's going to be out here. He's blah, blah, blah. Like he's trying to push for his son to blow up.
To get into the acting world.
Yes. Well, actually, Jafar actually said in the interview that he never acted until they asked him to act for this.
He never even thought of acting. He wanted to play golf.
Yeah.
He wanted to play golf, which is funny because now I'm like, he could do an autobiography type of movie on Tiger Woods. I think he could play a Tiger Woods probably, you know. I mean, I don't think of Michael Jackson and Tiger Woods looking alike, but at the same time, Jafar looks like he could play Tiger Woods too. So that's all I'm saying. The other person I think he looks like he could play, and I saw somebody else mention this, is when I think there's something about a new Miami Vice coming out, and I was like, oh, he could play Tubbs in a heartbeat. Yeah. Like if he wanted to play Tubbs, he's a Philip Michael Thomas for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because at first I think Mom was even like, what else could he play other than Michael Jackson? And I'm like, there's some things that he could play. And I mean, you could just be an actor and just be in movies and do a Bridgerton or something. I don't know.
They already have cast for the whatchamacallit for that movie. So
yeah, they've already cast for it. But I was just saying, like, those types of roles are ones in which he could just step right in. All right, I still haven't gotten through the cast, y'all. Okay. So the other person who is in there is Quincy Jones, being played by Kendrick Sampson. You might know him if you ever watched Insecure. Lorenz Tate as Berry Gordy. I was like, I ain't never thought Berry Gordy was cute. But Lorenz playing Berry Gordy. And looking a little like him from a distance, I was like, oh, okay, like that's different. You know, that's just different. But again, how do you see Berry Gordy without seeing Diana Ross? Do you see what I mean? Like that's the thing. You know, you just know that there's story there. All right. And then you had, what's his name? Oh, you had, nobody recognized him, by the way. So you had Michael Myers in there. And he plays a music executive, but he's so made up like he is normally in all of his
Austin Powers.
Yeah, that most people are like, I didn't know that. So I was telling the people around me, I was like, oh, you know, that's Michael Myers. And they was like, I was trying to figure out who that was, you know? So the other person that showed up that I didn't expect to see was Dion Cole. So Dion Cole is in the movie. I won't even say what role he's in, but when you see him, you'll be like, that's Dion Cole. Because what happened was Terry was like, who is that person? I know that face. And I told him, and he was like, oh, okay, that is who it is. So he's in the movie. Who else do you have in the movie? It's a lot of different people. So anyway, I'll just get into a quick synopsis of the movie. I'll try to be quick. It's going to be hard. But the movie goes through, like I said, his childhood, him singing, him getting spankings from Joe, through him, you know, becoming an adult. Now, one of the things that I didn't realize that maybe some people did, and I don't think, I mean, it's interesting, but I wouldn't say it's a spoiler because I don't want to get into any spoilers, is I didn't realize that Michael Jackson just didn't want to live on his own. Like he really did not want to live on his own. Like he was grown, he was an adult, but all of them were kind of living in this ranch in Encino or whatever for a really long time until Michael, I think, bought Neverland. So I'm like, wait, he's grown. He's out making music and then comes home and has to be in Joe's house, like, and tiptoeing around and all of that. Like, to me, that was just mind boggling that, that was his life. Right. But they show everything from, him getting bubbles and nose and, done and all that kind of stuff. So there's different aspects to him that they really show. The 3 things that I'll share, because again, I don't want to spoil anything. When y'all see it, y'all will be amazed. The 3 things that I want to share is number 1. Well, the 3 parts that stood out to me. Number 1, they talk about how, of course, his influence was James Brown. So I think we all know that that's a huge influence for Michael Jackson and him kind of emulating James Brown and sliding across the floor and all that kind of stuff. The other thing is that he would read the Peter Pan books all the time. He would read them to Bubbles. He would just read them all the time. And so based on that, you started to realize how much he loved Neverland. That was just, he would be 24 years old and still reading the Peter Pan books because that was just, what just stood out to him. And he was seeing himself as Peter Pan. The other thing is I did not know that the guy who wrote and choreographed Chicago, his last name is Fosse, that he participated in this book called The Little Prince. Well, there was a movie called The Little Prince. So they go into this book called The Little Prince while you're watching the movie. And I was like, okay, The Little Prince. I was like, is that why he wanted to name his son Prince? Because of The Little Prince, and him really, really, really loving the story of The Little Prince. Come to find out, I did not know this. I was today years old. Yesterday's years old, because this is when I found it out yesterday. But I think his name is Bob Fosse, who did Cabaret in Chicago and all those kind of things. But anyway, I think it was Cabaret. Anyway, he did dance moves that Michael Jackson took.
Oh, I could see that.
His own. And I did not know this, but so for anybody who's looking at the podcast, you're going to be able to see it. My sister will be able to see it. He's singing this song to the Little Prince, and he's basically just like telling, I guess it's good characters and bad characters in the Little Prince. And so this guy is literally getting ready to choreograph the dance. And when you look at his movements, you will see literally that he is doing the doom 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 doom. So he does all these different moves. He basically moonwalks. He does different kinds of pops and locks and different things. And these are all the things that Michael Jackson ends up doing at some point with his music and his dancing and his career, which is amazing to me. So go to YouTube and just look up The Little Prince and look up Bob Fosse. This part that I'm showing here isn't as I'm trying to get to. Hold on. The part that I saw, and I was like, he's standing on his toes. He's got the white silvery socks on. He's doing all these different dances for the Little Prince. And he's really the bad guy in this, though. But he just does certain moves. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what Michael Jackson would do. But he just does it
his way.
And does it so that he is he took it and perfected it. That's the best way to describe it. But when you watch this, it's like, OMG, I thought all these dance moves were solely Michael Jackson, but instead it's him emulating Bob Fosse. And it also, he's recognized him and he said, so it's not like he's stealing from him, because he said, my biggest influences were James Brown, Bob Fosse, and I forgot who the other person was. So he's telling you that these are his people. Oh, look at this. Hold on. Shoot, I keep going away from it. But he was literally doing that, everything that you see in Billie Jean. Everything this guy is doing.
I know that
in the movie. So
I know that James Brown has said in an interview that he taught Michael Jackson everything he know. He said because moonwalk ain't nothing but the camel walk backwards.
That's what he said. And Michael would have totally been okay with it. He would have been like, yep, you sure did. You sure did. And so, oh, go ahead.
That's one thing that I would say about Michael Jackson is that he's humble enough to be like, oh yeah, these were my big influences. Like, not big headed and be like, no, this is all me.
Right.
He was big headed with I want it perfect. I want it this way. This is my performance. This is how I want it. No, shut up. Stop talking. Why are you doing this? All right, you're fired. Like that kind of thing. But when it came to like, he was still a humble person, even though he was known all over the world.
All over the world, right? And they go into that too in the movie, like even him going to visit children in the hospital and buying like a trunk full of toys and just going to the hospital. And I didn't realize his relationship that he had with his driver. So they go into the relationship with his driver, and he just looked at him with such admiration because he's like, wow, like, you're the most popular, famous person in the world, and you're going to a store, getting toys, taking them to, these kids, and you're making their life, not even their day, not even their week. Like, you're making their life by doing this. And they can always say, I had this toy from Michael Jackson. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like those types of things. And then they go into him in the Pepsi commercial and him being burned and still visiting people while he's going through what he's dealing with. Which brings me to one last thing is just, I was listening to, I think it was Drink Champs, and they were talking to Teddy Riley about who is the best, because they'll ask this question to people, is it Prince or Michael Jackson? And, a lot of people who are musicians are like, I don't even want to go down that path. So they'll just take a shot. So they have to take a shot if they won't answer the question. But Teddy Riley answered it. And he was like, Michael Jackson, period, hands down. And so he was like, no, Prince is awesome. Prince is great, the whole 9 yards. He said, but Michael and what he was able to create, what he was able to do, and we will never have anybody like him again. I don't think we'll have anybody like Prince again either, but just in regards to Michael being able to have international fame to the point of it being that people would pass out at his presence. Yeah. Like, he didn't even have to sing. He didn't even have to dance. He could literally just show up on a stage and people would pass out, and people would show up in droves. And, oh, by the way, the humanitarian side of what it was that he did, and the things that he would pay for that nobody ever knew, and the children he would visit in the hospitals that nobody ever knew about, and all of those things. He was like just all of that, the epitome of all of that, and the work ethic that went into all of everything that he did. That's why he said it would be Michael Jackson. Now, Michael's brothers got asked that question of, do you ever think, like, of course, there's only one Michael. Is there anybody that you all would say could become like a hair close to Michael, in regards to their performance, their stage presence, all of that? And they said Chris Brown. So they were like, that is the, look at you, what's that face about? But they were not saying, no, but they were just saying in regards to, the singing, because he was young when he started, not as young as Michael, but young when he started, the longevity, the dancing, which I think that's why the Chris Brown and Usher tour is like, going to sell out stadiums. They are only playing stadiums. It's because those are the two people that everybody says dance the closest to Michael Jackson. I think Chris Brown has Usher beat, but Usher will put it on some roller skates and, do his thing. So anyway, I say all that to say, go see the movie. It's amazing. It's not as crowded anymore as what it was, but it's still breaking, records. I think, I forgot how many billions of dollars or millions of dollars, going towards $1 billion that it's getting to internationally. Mm-hmm. And I will also say sing-alongs on TikTok. Just look up TikTok sing-alongs with the Michael Jackson movie, because there are people, like, when the ending credits go, you have people in costumes. I mean, when I say from the Scarecrow to him in Bad, to him in Beat It, to him in Man in the Mirror, to him like Captain Hook stuff. Like, I mean, it's every single thing. You have women dressed up like the girl in the Thriller video. It's everything. So people literally were showing up, gloves, hats, socks, the whole 9 yards. And I said during the movie, it needs to be a sing-along version. You have to have at some point a dance and sing-along version of this movie. Like this particular, I would pay extra.
Like a Rocky Horror.
For
is that what Rocky Horror movie? Is that what it is?
Yes, like a Rocky Horror Picture Show. Yep. So I would pay $25 for the ticket for me to be able to go in and sing with other people and be able to dance in the aisles or do whatever, like just have a ball with this movie because it's so many songs. So on that note, Michael, see it. Absolutely, it's phenomenal. All right. So what do you have next, sis?
But before I go to my next thing, I think that Beyonce is getting a smidgen close to Michael Jackson. Because like she's all over the world.
Yeah, she has the international fame. And the other thing that she does really well is the mystique. Like she will go into hibernation and she does not come out, which is unfortunate probably for her in her life. But, she'll go into hibernation. You won't see her for a year. You might not see her for, 18 months. And then she shows up at the Met Gala this week and you're just like, oh, it's Beyonce. And she's the main story and all the pictures and all of that kind of stuff. But this time, believe it or not, Blue Ivy's upstaging her.
Oh, yeah, but that's what she wanted. But that's what she wanted. Yeah. Because in all of her interviews, she said that everybody was like, how are you feeling that, it's been 10 years since you've been on stage? She said, oh, I'm excited, but I'm more excited because my daughter's here.
Right. I'm so proud, mom. This is all about family. Yeah, all of those things. So I think those are the things that she knows how to create the narrative and to make it a story about what she wants the story to be about. Yes. I think that she actually downplayed her outfit because I didn't think it was the greatest outfit or the most flattering outfit actually, but I think she did that so that Blue Ivy could stand out as being, kind of her debutante ball, so to speak, and her stand out. I would have loved if they came as twins, because it was about art. Right? If it's about art. No, I'm just saying, because that was the theme. The theme was about art. So therefore, I think if they showed up as like some kind of artistic expression of the same type of, because there's plenty of art that has younger versions and older versions of the person or something like that. So just to do it like that, I know Angela Bassett had a dress on that was really pretty. And she said that was based on art that was in the Metropolitan Museum. And so anyway, I'm just saying if it was based on art, I think it would have been. All right, what you got?
All right, so you're going to have to help me with this. So I'm going to talk about Dave Chappelle. Yes, him on NPR. He did a 40-minute interview with NPR, and he actually did it inside of I guess I don't know if it used to be a firehouse or something like that he bought, and it's now his office or whatever. He said this must be my office space. But basically, he talks about multiple things. He talks about him leaving a Chappelle show, and how that changed his life. He also talks about him basically always once he got to a point where he was like, well, if I'm going to keep doing this comedy thing, I need to make sure that I have a home. So he was like, well, I'm just going to go back to my roots and go back here and build a house. And then after that, it became more of okay, so now I built the house. And now, well, this property over here is for sale. So let me go ahead and buy that. And, I'll do something with that, make that up and help out. So he basically is in, what is it? Yellow. Oh my goodness. Hold on. I just had it. He is in Yellow Springs, Ohio. So basically he's just buying up everything that he can in Yellow Springs, Ohio. Now,
can I say something really quick?
Yeah.
So I know that he had said that one of the things that he did was during COVID, people were having so much trouble trying to keep their property, keep their businesses, that some of the businesses he bought, it wasn't because he was just trying to be some big landlord out there, but it was because somebody was getting ready to lose the business. So he bought the building. So that way they wouldn't even have to worry about paying rent. Instead, they could just focus on doing the business part of what it is that they do, and it kept them afloat. So even in part of what I saw, and I think it might be the same special, but it was people who had in their window, thanks Dave, because I guess Dave was the reason as to why they were able to keep their business. So they're, thanking him for every patron that comes in there. There's something in the window like, thanks Dave. So, he took care of us.
Yeah. And I think that is so awesome for him to be able to give back to his community by doing something like he said, he's like, I don't even want the recognition. He's like, I just wanted to do it just out of the kindness of my heart.
Right.
He's like, so with him, what he ended up doing and why NPR wanted to do the interview is because he spent $15 million of his own money to give to a tiny public radio station called WYSO.
Yeah, which stands for the Yellow Spring. That's like the W is the W from that, but it's like the Yellow Spring, Ohio. That's what it is.
Yeah,
so WYSO stands for W Yellow Spring, Ohio.
Yeah. So, what did he say? Basically, yeah, he was like, he just wanted. Oh, sorry, but yeah, he was just saying that he was just like, well, I mean, this is news. This is a news station. Like, this is something that's giving it back to the public. You're going to need that if anything was to happen. Basically, you turn on your radio, you'll be able to hear the information. So I think that that's awesome that as much as he is put down in the news about like his comedy and stuff like that, and people saying so much stuff about how he just left Chappelle show. He went to Africa and blah, 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 blah. It's just awesome that he just like, nah, I'm still trying to give back. Like, I don't care what people say about me. I'm not doing this for people. I'm doing this for me. Like, I love this. Like, this is something I love. What were you saying?
Yeah, I was going to say, I like the fact that he also with that note, he had said, I think the commentator or the person who interviewing him was like, so if you do something, do you expect this news station now to not say anything bad about it? And he was like, well, I hope they give me a little grace, but he's like, no, they have to report the news. They have to report the story. So even though they know me, they may respect me, they may appreciate everything I did, a good journalist is going to tell good journalism. So therefore, if they have to drag me, basically, they'll drag me. But he's like, but I hope they would show me a little grace. So I get that. But I also appreciate him saying that, because a lot of his childhood was there because he was, I guess, between his mom and his dad, a lot of it was there in Ohio with his dad. He wanted to have that same type of like childhood for his children. So it's like they would be totally different if they were in California, Hollywood, New York City, having that small town feel, because he said they'll tell him like, oh, your kid was over there doing such and such. I saw him on the street. And he's like, oh, so everybody can tell me because we're so close knit. They're like, my kids can't get away with anything. So I was like, that is very like old school way of how it took a village, right, to raise your kids and all of that. So I thought that was really awesome too.
But then also that is so dope because it's not that your children see you as a celebrity. Now your children just see you as dad.
Right.
Because now you're not in California where everybody around is celebrity and now you have all this. I have to keep up with this person. I have to have this kind of car because they have this kind of car. And dad, why aren't you paying for me to be able to go to Abu Dhabi to go see Beyonce singing? My friends over here, now he's just like, if you don't go outside and play in the yard and get out of my face, like that is his kind of thing. Like he's raising his children the way that he was raised.
Right, exactly. And they're not looking for that, big, huge, G-Wagon for their 16th birthday or something crazy, because they're like, I'm here in Ohio with a bunch of other Ohioans. So therefore, it's like, what am I going to do with all of that? So, I think that that's really great. And for his wife to be okay with that too, because sometimes people marry you and they want the other life. They want that prestige. They want to be the woman who can walk on Rodeo Drive and buy up the shop, So knowing that she is totally on board with this lifestyle and that they were basically, as they say in the Bible, equally yoked to be able to both be fine with the life that they're living is great too.
Yeah. And I think that it could have been that his big celebrity status that he had from when he was doing Chappelle show and people recognize him all the time. She's like, I kind of just want to be like she was never in the limelight, first of all. So she never wanted that. But then also it could have been that she was just like, yeah, we need to be in Ohio because of the fact that I want to spend time with you. I'm not trying to spend time with you in the entire world.
Right. So exactly. Yeah, going out to get something for dinner and people are probably leaving him alone. But, interestingly enough, when LeBron James was in Ohio, talking about Ohioans. I think I might have mentioned this on here before that I knew where LeBron James' house was. They weren't as secretive with where LeBron lived. Everybody knew where he lived. Gated, not even gated community, gated home on a regular block, kind of situation. So you could drive by it and all of those things. However, it was one of those things that people were like, well, if you saw him out, like let's say you went out to the movies and LeBron was there, you're going to see him. He's super tall with his family going to the movies. People would typically leave him alone. They would just be like, oh, he's out with his family. We're not going to interrupt. We're not going to bother him. Or, oh, he's out at dinner with his family. We're going to kind of leave him alone. And I feel like Dave had that same experience, has that same experience because he's like, nobody cares about me out here, which I find that hard to believe. But I guess it's once you see a person over and over and over again, you're just like, oh, okay. And I think that keeps him grounded, right? It keeps him humble, as he had even mentioned, because you're right. You might be going to the grocery store and you can walk around the grocery store freely. And yes, you might have to speak to a couple of people. And yes, some kids might come up and want an autograph or something like that. But you can just be your true self and feel like you have somewhat of a normal existence, as opposed to like the Beyoncés of the world who can't have that. Like you just literally can. I don't know. Maybe she can put on enough cosmetics and things on her face to make it so that nobody notices her, with wigs and glasses and an afro or something. I don't know, but I just feel like that's very difficult for her, and that can be isolating. And it's just unfortunate that fame can do that, for people. And it sounds like he has the perfect ecosystem that he has created for himself of being able to say, all right, you know what? I can be out and do this and live that Hollywood life while I'm going out traveling and doing my shows, and people show up and they scream my names, but then I can come home and I'm just Dave.
Yeah. So. One thing that you had said that with him having the radio station and the lady, the journalist asking him, what would he say? Like if they were to say something about him, another thing from that is that he had talked about how you don't recognize how good Americans have it until you go overseas. So he was talking about how when he first went overseas, he talked about when he went over to Africa after the Chappelle show, he said he saw how it was so much stuff that Americans have the rights and the ability to do that they don't have that. So he said that when he went to Saudi Arabia, and there was a whole hoopla about that. But he said there was two things about Saudi Arabia. He said, one, there was never a problem with the U.S. government doing stuff and anybody else doing stuff over in Saudi Arabia until I did it. So he's like, now black man's going over there making money. Now it's like, oh, wait, you're doing too much now. So he was like saying that with that being said, he said that he didn't realize that comedy shows were happening in people's houses because of the fact that you can't have a comedy show at a stadium or anything like that, because that is not something that the law allows you to do. You have to be of a certain stature and a certain amount of money. Like you have to be the person who helps make the rules in order for you to break the rules. Basically, is what he was saying with that. And I thought that was extremely, like eye-opening, because you really don't realize, like, we do have certain rights that other countries do not have.
Right.
And, it's a blessing to be able to have those. And people will take that for granted. So he's saying that, now he's like, this is eye-opening that you don't take things like that for granted. Another thing that he had talked about was how he had to learn different ways. He had to learn basically how to say, I respectfully decline. So he said he had to learn how to say that because him making a joke about transgender, he was like, now, if I'm making a joke, it's because I'm hearing all these people around me talking about stuff. So now I'm making a joke off of all the conversations that I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I go out there and make this joke, he's like, I'm making a joke. This is not like something that is, oh, this is my belief and I don't believe that, blah, blah, blah. He's just like, this is a joke. So he said that when he did have a Republican woman who came up to him, and he was, I guess he was like a something that he was at, I can't remember, but he ended up being around a whole bunch of politicians, and the politicians, like, he's taking pictures with everybody, and then one lady comes up and was like, can I take a picture with you? And he said, I did not know the term, I respectfully declined. And he said that once he took that picture with her, then she ended up posting the picture of them together saying like-minded people thinking about, hashtag no trans, blah, 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 blah. And he was just like, I never said any of that. He was like, I was just at this place taking pictures with people who want to take pictures with me. But now he's realizing, but me as the figure that I am, I now have to think about, I can't just take pictures with people because people will be like, we agree on this because of something that's said in a comedy show.
Right.
So he's like, now I know the term, I respectfully decline. He said, I use that all the time. I respectfully decline. Take a picture with you because you're going to throw it in my face. Absolutely.
Right.
Not.
Because people have their own agenda, unfortunately.
Exactly.
So
it's not just that, oh yeah, I want to take a picture with you because I think that you're awesome. No, I want to take a picture with you because I know that your followers are going to end up going ahead and looking at the stuff that I have in common. So, and then that way I can bring your people over to me.
Like, oh, he's just like me, and you didn't know that. But then it also can turn on you where now everybody is canceling you because they're like, oh, he's hanging out with them. Oh no, you know what I mean? So
Dave Chappelle has been canceled so many times that he just makes a comedy special and then comes right back. And then by the end of the comedy special, he's canceled again. I love it. I love it.
He's like, I mean, like, he's canceled. And that's the thing he did mention about Saudi Arabia too, was that he was told by the king that he could do whatever he wanted to do. So he was saying that this part that I'd seen where it was like in America, sometimes, even though we have freedoms, you are getting in trouble and getting canceled for you having freedom of speech. You're trying to do your comedy and people are upset and frustrated and, calling you everything from woke to a snowflake to blah, 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 like all these different terms, right? Yeah. He said over there, it was amazing because even though they're very restricted, when he came over there to do what he wanted to do, they said, you have carte blanche. You can talk about anything you want to talk about. And he was like, whoa, like I haven't had that feeling in a minute. So he was very excited about that. And then I saw him on, in my opinion, with the Obamas, Michelle Obama and her brother, Craig Robinson. And so he was on there and he had a really poignant story about him opening for Richard Pryor. I'll just share this really quickly. So he opened with Richard Pryor, and it was towards the time when Richard Pryor was really dealing with his MS a lot. Mm-hmm. And so he said he could tell that Richard Pryor was just like not really feeling it. So he said when he went out there, he said, I just barely did anything. Like I just, warmed him up. I warmed him up good, but I ain't, hit him out the park because I knew Richard was coming after me and he was not feeling that well. So he said Richard got out there. He started, to give his jokes, but they weren't really they weren't Richard. So then he said that what he saw, he said he will never forget. It's the biggest lesson or the biggest thing that he'd ever seen in his life that he chases, basically, was that Richard Pryor just said, look, y'all, I'm not feeling well. I want to give y'all everything I got, but I just can't. I just don't feel well. I'm sorry. I know y'all pay for these tickets. Like he just went through and just told the truth. And it was dead silence. And then somebody in the back started screaming, we love you, Richard. And everybody got up and he said it was the biggest standing ovation, all the longest applause, like people just screaming and yelling, and people in the crowd were emotional. And he was emotional because everybody was realizing they probably weren't going to be able to see him in the future. Like this might be the last time that he comes to this stop on a tour. He's got MS. He's not doing well. He doesn't even feel up the part. So he's probably not even going to do another tour. And they were just giving him his flowers. And he said that from the back, he was just like, I don't know what it is, but I want that. Like, I want that kind of admiration from my fans of them just, even if I can't give them the comedy, they still love me. They still appreciate me. And they still want to, they still know all that I have given. Like I've just given it all. And so I just thought that was really powerful of a story that he shared on, in my opinion. So really beautiful story. So
if you want to check out that interview, I actually looked at it on YouTube. It was under NPR. And yeah, you can check that out. Like I said, it's like 40 minutes. So
okay, sounds good. So on that note, somebody did, for anybody who is watching us on YouTube, somebody did decide that they saw a ring light and wanted to be a part of the show. So Chico is now in my lap, and he is just as calm as he wants to be, because he's like, basically I have my camera now, so I'm good. So he's already been tap dancing around, if you heard his feet in the background. So I was like, let me pick him up so that he can go ahead and be a part of the show. So on that note, that's it for Sestra-Tainment this week. Yeah. So I hope everybody has an amazing week. We'll come back in 2 weeks. I don't think we told you all that we are doing it. Yeah. But we are doing every 2 weeks now instead of every week, because life be lifing. And, we're busy ladies. So based on that, we'll be back in 2 weeks. I hope you all have an amazing week. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. And we'll bye.